Hey guys, today our topic is going to go to talking about inequalities. Up until this point, we've been talking about equations or equalities, where one side, say 2x plus 3, was equal to maybe 9. Okay, but today we're going to be talking about inequalities. Inequalities are when two things are unequal or when they're not equal. So our major goal for the day is that you need to understand what an inequality is and that you can represent inequalities on a number line, okay? So get that objective written down and the heading. Don't forget your date, October 21st, and your page number. You should be on page 50. If you're not, count ahead to page 50 and label it page 50. And we need to do a brief review of what these inequality symbols are. You've seen these before, or at least I know you've seen these first two before. This first symbol is greater than, and I like to remember it. I left my pen at home, guys, so my handwriting is going to be awful today. Sorry. I like to remember the symbols by thinking of them as little alligators. Okay, so this little alligator has teeth, and he's going to eat the bigger number. So whatever number comes first would be greater than whatever number comes second. Conversely, this next symbol is going to be less than. So let's say I have m is less than, wow, this is getting really sloppy. Sorry, guys. Let me redo that. It'll be m is less than 4. That means that m, my variable, is going to equal any number that is less than 4. So m could equal 3 or 2 or negative 50 or negative 2 million or 0.5. All of those numbers are less than 4, so all of them are true. Now, the two inequality symbols you might be less familiar with are these ones down here. And really, all they are is they're the same as this inequality symbol, greater than, but then this little line means or equal to. So this symbol means greater than, hang on, I wish I had my pen, greater than or equal to. And I like to remember that as, you know how an equal sign has two horizontal lines like this? So when I'm dealing with greater than or equal to, I have like one of those little lines from my equal sign, which is where we get the or equal to. Okay, so an example of this with real numbers and variables might be y is greater than or equal to 2. So y could be greater than 2. It could be 3, 4, 10, 6.5, but it could also be 2. So y could be 2, and it would still satisfy this inequality. That's what we say about it. It satisfies the inequality. And then, of course, this symbol is going to be less than or equal to. This should all be written still on page 50, I believe. Yes, page 50. You should write these symbols down. Try and decipher my handwriting. Greater than, less than, I should put. Greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. So those are our inequality symbols. So now let's look at how we actually do something with them. And to do that, I'm going to first talk about equations. If we are to graph an equation on a number line, all we have to do is just put a filled-in circle on the number that is the solution to the equation. So if we have x equals 3, we would just put a filled-in circle, so no hole in the middle, on the number 3, and we're done. We have graphed our equation. Wonderful. With inequalities, it's very similar. You guys should have, this should still be on page 50. You guys should have enough room to put that on page 50. If not, put it on the next page and say page 50 continued. And then for this next section, we're going to go to page 51. When we're graphing inequalities, it's a little bit different. Please write this down. You are going to place a filled or open circle. Filled is sometimes called closed, a circle that's been filled in. A closed or open circle on the number that is the solution to the inequality. Now, how do you figure out whether it's going to be closed or whether it's going to be open? The symbols greater than and less than, so when they don't have that little line underneath, if it's just greater than or less than, you're going to use an open circle. If it's greater than and equal to and less than or equal to, you're going to use a closed circle. So you're going to put a circle and fill it in. I like to remember that as, you know how my greater than symbol has this little extra line on it? Well, the circle has a little extra filled in. So the extra line goes with the extra filled in. That's how I memorize it. And then, this is the part that people sometimes mess up, you're going to put an arrow that points in the same direction as where your inequality symbol points. And you'll see a couple examples of this in just a minute. Get all of these notes written down. Pause the video if you need to, because we're going to go ahead and jump ahead right now. Okay, so let's look at several examples here. And you know what? I'm going to cover up part of the screen. We have this inequality here, x greater than 4. If we think about the notes we just took, greater than or less than uses an open circle. So I am going to put a circle, an open circle at 4, positive 4. So there we go. Let me move that down so it's actually on positive 4. And then I'm going to put an arrow in the same direction as your inequality symbol points. So which way is this inequality symbol pointing? If it was the end of an arrow, which direction would it be? And my answer is that it's pointing to the right. See how that's kind of pointing to the right there? So I'm going to put my line to graph my inequality off to the right. Oop, too big. There we go. And I have just successfully graphed my inequality. What this means is that any number in the direction of this arrow is going to work for this inequality. For example, 5 right here is in this area of the arrow. Is 5 greater than 4? Yeah, it is. So that's what that inequality graphing means. Let's look at another one. This one, I have y is less than or equal to 3. Now I've got that or equal to thing going on, so that means that I'm going to use a filled in circle or a closed circle. And I'm going to put that circle at 3. Right there. And then I'm going to be drawing an arrow that follows the direction of my inequality symbol. My inequality symbol is pointing to the left, so I'm going to take this arrow and I'm going to point it to the left. Let me make that a little thicker. There we go. All right, so I've just graphed my second inequality. And once again, see all of these numbers in the yellow area? -2, -3, -4. If I plug any of those in here, for example, -2, -2 is less than or equal to 3. Yeah, it's true. I can also put this 3 in there. Is 3 less than or equal to 3? Yeah, it is. All right, here's the last one we're going to do together. And I have m is less than 1. And I want you to think to yourself before I tell you, am I going to use a closed circle or an open circle? Think about it. And the answer is that I am going to use an open circle. Give me just a minute to get this set up. And that open circle is going to be at 1 right there. Beautiful. And then I make my line go in the same direction as my inequality symbol, which is to the left. So there we go. Any number less than 1 is going to satisfy this inequality. Even something like perhaps 0.7. That's still less than 1, so it's still going to match my inequality. All right, guys, your reflection for today is I want you to describe in detail, in words, a way you can remember which symbol means less than and which symbol means greater than. So put actually in sentences, in words, how you remember that. All right, thanks, guys. Have a great night.